Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
I'm gonna say this loud enough for the people in the back. You know when your life's gonna change? When you stop running back to the things that God is trying to save you from. When you stop pressing rewind on the things that need to be deleted from your life. When you stop hanging on to the things that you know you need to let go of. Let me tell you this, moving on isn't always about knowing where you're going. It's about knowing where you're no longer staying and what you refuse to go back to. Straight up.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, my loves. This is what you guys get to see today. I am so sorry, but I'm in a lot of pain. I'm not feeling well. It's been a lot just to sit up. I didn't realize I hurt myself until Monday morning. So I knew I pulled something on Sunday, but I carried on with my day like nothing happened. And it wasn't until I woke up Monday that I realized I had hurt myself a little more than I thought I did. So sorry, it was kind of unexpected, and I just opted. I wasn't planning even on going live today, but I decided, an emoji or thumbnail's better than than no live at all, because there's so much stuff going on, especially in the Bryan Kohberger case. And there's other cases that are starting to pick up, that are starting not to be just, old classic people just walking out of home and disappearing. So there are a few cases that I'm eyeballing right now that we might be just taking a break from the Kohberger case and dovetailing to the other cases. However, we do have some information. And as I was reading over this stuff, because I've been reading, I mean, it's really all I can do in bed is read, right? And it was funny because I was listening to people think that I was down in Miami yesterday. I'll be honest with you, I was supposed to be there. I've never lied about what I do or where I go. I always just tell you guys I have a personal thing I'm doing, and that's what I do because that's my personal business, right? But no, I was supposed to be there. I'm just completely heartbroken that I can't make the drive when my back's this bad. It's really hurting bad. So I pulled something. It's getting better. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to sit up in the office for the 2-hour show, but that's the reason why the emoji's on. I just can't sit up. It's just very difficult, and I don't want you guys seeing me like this. So, but we still have work to do, and I can still do it because I'm completely, utterly rested. It's not like I'm going to be able to go to sleep in the next, week or anything like that. Good morning, Sonia. Jennifer, congratulations. We have you got a new blue earring sitting next to your name this morning. It's nice to see you all here. M&M Racing. Stacy, good morning. I am Team Summer. Cranky Pants is in the house. It's nice to see you guys. And again, I'm very sorry. I know that, I don't ever, and I just started going back Saturday and Sunday. I was like, man, I decided to work Saturday and Sunday, and then I'm down Tuesday. And I'd actually, if it wasn't for me trying to actually get up and do something today, I probably wouldn't be back on here for another week. My back hurts that bad. So even though my back is going to be getting better and I'm going to be able to stand up, my fence, the removal of the fence is kind of hindered until I feel 100%, because I don't want to re-aggravate an already delicate area. So it's very upsetting to me on many, many levels, but that's okay. I'm here, this too shall pass. And I guess it'll get done in God's time, not my time. So it's just one of those things. I got to remember I'm getting older and I can't push myself like I used to. And not only that, I'm a YouTuber now. It's not like I do handyman work every day like I once did, right? So it's like the muscles are not as strong as they once were. So I'm going to be doing something about that this year, because I'm not going to have a fence kick my butt. And right now I feel like fence 1, Bullhorn Betty 0, right? The battle of the fence. The battle of the fence. Maybe I should call it the Battle of Ian, because we're still battling Ian, right? Anyways, it's good to see all of you. I know I didn't get a chance to touch on each and every one of you, but as you guys can imagine, I'm still in a lot of pain. So I don't know how long this live is going to be. I don't know if we can quite make it 2 hours. Hopefully I can. I'm really definitely going to push to be able to stay here for 2 hours. But if the pain starts getting a little too intense, I am going to rest. I'm not going to push it because I've already been in a lot of pain for the last couple of days. So with that being said, let's just kind of dovetail right into kind of what our conversation is about. So the reason for my title in my thumbnail this morning, and what inspired it wasn't really anything that inspired it this morning. I actually did that yesterday because I was struggling. I was actually going to try to do a live yesterday, and every time I went to go set up for the live, it just wasn't working. I had to move, and I was still in a lot of pain. So, and this morning's really not much different, but I know I can't be away from you guys this long. I'm going crazy here by myself, right? And not only that, I really haven't been talking to people either, because I've been in pain, and it's been painful sometimes to even breathe, cough, sneeze. It's all on my left side. It just hurts. That's all I can say. It just hurts. So I'm going to try to keep my concentration away from the pain today and try to just stay focused on the case at hand. So I'm sorry, guys. I wish I was better for you. I wish I was more exciting. I'm just not. And that is what it is. So what happened is we watched it was very difficult the way the judge put up with this, spoke about this case. It was very upsetting because he's acknowledging that they're not required to have cameras in the courtroom, which we all know that there's no requirement for cameras in the courtroom in Idaho. But a public trial is a public trial. And with a trial of this magnitude, for them to force everybody into a small county where they could not possibly provide enough seats for the public trial that this needs to be, even opening up an auxiliary area for the overflow, they'll still never have enough seats for the general public that is able and wanting to attend. So in light of how small their community is, in light of their small facilities, it makes sense to me that by them failing to allow cameras in the courtroom, if that's the route they choose to go, I feel like they are pushing the public out because that small area, that small county could not possibly hold the actual general public that would be willing to show up for that hearing. There will not be enough seats. Therefore, they would be violating somebody's rights to a public trial. And I think that we need to be looking at it at that lens as far as the camera, because there's no possibility of them being able to hold all of the general public that would be willing and able to attend that hearing and those trials. They would not be able to find enough seats for them. And that's going to be, I hope that the judge considers that in his decision making. Because he's, a lot of the community is saying they don't want all these people in their community, and he is forcing the people to come to that community and forcing the people to be around in a lot of media too, which, the young kids there are saying that they would prefer if media can give them some breathing room, right? Well, that's not going to be the case so much. And trust me, when this trial comes around, this is going to be fresh people with fresh ideas, people that have made their decisions. Then you got the entire media pool out there in Moscow, getting out in the streets, interviewing people, garnering any type of newsworthy conversation they can get. I mean, this happens all the time. It's not something that we don't know about, don't understand. However, it is, this is up to the judge. It's up to the judge's discretion. Excuse me. The Idaho rules of professional regulation or whatever governs the judges out there. I'm not thinking very clearly this morning. He has the discretion. They give him the discretion. So now going over to the non-dissemination order. Now, he does have a broad discretion on this non-dissemination order as long as it follows a few rules. We found out from the Supreme Court that it didn't follow the few rules. My problem is that it seems to me that the defense has reached out to the prosecution and said, hey, we're trying to do this fair, but we need all these people out of this case. We need you to help us. Otherwise, when we appeal, we're going to fight you directly. I mean, we don't know. This is just speculation. But I can see it happening. There's a reason why the prosecution and the defense are so gun-ho on keeping everybody out of this case. And I don't think it's simply because these people are in jeopardy for their life. I mean, give me a break. They had, at the beginning, you cannot prove to me that these people have had life-threatening calls, have been threatened into the inch of their life. I mean, I want to see the proof. I don't want to hear you telling me theoretically that this could happen. You're blocking the entire country out of this case. I don't need hypotheticals. I want hard, cold proof, and not some yahoo from this company that can't tell me how they even come up with the metrics on this report, and further basically ends up being the stroker of her clients instead of the actual person that designed this system and could tell us the algorithms used to generate these reports, which is required by the court. And so they bring this, and then they have this other stuff pointing out these articles, and outside of the salacious titles, when you read the articles, you find out that the articles are not, hyperbole. They're not conjecture. They're actually on a foundation of truth. They speak about what they know, the factual information, and some of these have their own opinions. Some of these have, whoever they're interviewing's opinion in there, and they're acting like that we can't have that. I have never in my life heard a judge just sit up there and act like he needs to be taught why he can't put this overly broad, unduly burdensome, vague, that needs a memorandum of law to explain what it means in place. I've just never, I call me stupid. I mean, there's a lot of, I think this case is very interesting. And I hope a lot of legal scholars, people that are going to school, people that are, just in the legal field in general, watch this case because, in time, and even in a legal career, even in an attorney's, they're never going to come across every single possible scenario that they're going to argue. So hearing some of these, seeing some of these things that you've never seen happen before are pretty interesting, but they expand your legal knowledge, they expand your horizon, and you never know. Maybe some of these trial strategies, a legal attorney watching this case may actually use for his own client down the road. So there's a lot of education that comes along with this case as well, and it being so high profile. And that education and that knowledge of how courts work is being diminished because they're throwing the public out of these courthouses and out of these courtrooms, right? They're making the courtrooms smaller and smaller for these small areas. They're trying to say we have these, backup areas, but where's the backup to the backup? I mean, you're talking about one of the most high profile cases of our time. This, every time we think we have the highest profile case, right? The Gabby Petito, the Kylie Rodney. Then you have, boom, these students, these university murders. So it's always a stepping stone to which one is the most highest profile. But you know what? Out of every single one of these, they're not kicking us out of the courtroom. Gabby Petito, we're not being kicked out of the courtroom. There's a lot of these high profile cases we're not being kicked out of the courtroom for. And they're having a fair trial. And for years prior to this have had a fair trial. I heard that the judge was not happy of having to possibly change a venue. It's a costly, undertaking. We understand that. However, unfortunately, the law prescribes that is less restrictive than a blanket non-dissemination order. And that because there's a less restrictive mean, that non-dissemination order restricting something that the less restrictive means would prevent, it also has a problem with this non-dissemination order. But that's not why we're here. We're here because I think the defense is nervous, is very, very nervous. They all come in there very, cool as a cucumber. Cool as a cucumber. But when I'm reading the memorandums, when I'm reading their statements, and when I'm reading their pleadings that they're putting into the court record, it's giving me a tinge of nervousness. They're wanting to drag this out. They're wanting to delay, which is their right to do. But also, it's something that we need. Hi, Mike. Nice to see you. Hey, Pebbles. Nice to see you, May May. It's also something to take note of. A defense that's eager to exonerate themselves, a defense that's eager and says that their client is not guilty. You would think they would want to move this along, that they should have everything they need. I mean, they knew that this time would come, and they are unprepared. But in all fairness, they're not required to start being prepared until being asked, right? So they're not having to prepare for an alibi if the prosecution isn't asking for an alibi. So why would they be spending time on something that hasn't been asked of them yet and they're not required to work on yet? I guarantee they've been anticipating. Any good attorney anticipates moves from the prosecution, and likewise, the prosecution if they're seasoned, anticipate certain moves from the defense. Remember, when we go to court, this kind of stuff is not new to anybody sitting in that courtroom. Judges hear over and over. That's why I'm always laughing when people say, I'm not guilty, and their reasoning. And it's like, I always try to say, you might want to come up with a better reasoning. Here's why. This judge has listened to 40, 50, 1,000 people before you come in there and say they're not guilty. You better bring a little more with you. You better pack a little more punch than I'm not guilty, right? For them to believe you. So, oh, good morning, Jess Samantha. I saw your message somewhere, and I can't remember it. It was asking if I saw your message. Oh, excuse me. If I saw your message on one of my comments on my live, and I did not, and I apologize to you. I just haven't been, I've been in a lot of pain here lately, and it's been a struggle. Even that coughing, that right there, that hurts. And I still have to blow my nose, and that hurts. Everything hurts. That's all I can say. And while my whole middle body, from my tailbone up to my, my shoulders, it hurts, but it's predominantly on the left side. I don't know what I did, but I do know, I remember when I moved this fence, there's a lot of pieces of the fence that are pretty heavy, and some of those sections are 8 foot. I don't know how much they weigh, but I have to move it a little bit of a distance, and I was taking down the partition, and it was struggling with me, so I ended up lifting it above my head, and I kind of, when I did that, just to get it to move, I ended up turning my upper body when my lower body was still in. I don't know how to explain it. It just hurts. That's all I can tell you. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, you know how much pain I'm in. And it's been 2 days. I've iced it, I've heated it, and it's still distracting for me. So I apologize about that. Give me just a second. I gotta blow my nose. There we go. So anyways, they we were getting into the alibi aspect of it, but they've been sitting there asking for an alibi, and then what do we get from the defense? And you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it's stuff I would do. We were in the delay. Remember, they always say tell us to educate our audience. And I think I've been educating you guys pretty good along the way. And what did I always tell you? When you're in this type of hearing, and especially we went over it again when they were starting to talk about the October trial date. And I said, don't even start looking or making plans for that October trial date. It will move. And here's why I know it'll move, is because they're in the delay area of, the trial strategy. They want to drag this out. They want to have an opportunity to be able to, review the discovery, re-review the discovery, cross. They want to be able to have as much time as possible to prepare the best possible case for their client, whether the client is the state or the client is Bryan Kohberger. So at this juncture, we're going to be delaying. There's going to be motions to compel discovery that doesn't exist. It's in an effort to push the defense or push the prosecution as far as they can say, so they can't bring any additional documents, reports, or something else into the trial. So we got a lot of stuff that's going to be going on between now and then, which is what's called the pretrial motions. We've already seen in living color what some of those pretrial motions look like, such as the motions to compel the getting to the discovery in, and the subsequent motion for a defendant's alibi, which the defendant has responded to, which has kind of helped gear me into this thought process. Excuse me. When it comes to the alibi. Many of us are kind of like, if there's an alibi, just give it up. All right. Where the heck was Bryan Kohberger during these times? I mean, at the end of the day, they did see movement on his cell phone. That's going to be undisputed. It's going to be undisputed when his phone left his house and was in transit before it was turned off. It's going to be it's going to bowed into when his phone was turned on and where he was and how long it took him to get home. I mean, they've got to really look at this evidence and make sure that they don't screw up his alibi, because they're going to have to explain all that. And that's going to be very difficult to do because of the sporadic, the phone being turned off at this time and turned on at this time. Well, what were you doing in that 2-hour period? You know what I'm saying? So here's the request. They started off with their request and then provided their answers. And it basically says, come now, Bryan C. Kohberger, by and through his attorney of record, Ann C. Taylor, public defender, and hereby submits the defendant's response to the state's request for discovery, disclosure, and alibi demand filed with the court on May 23rd. And so the defense is asking for all books, papers, documents, photographed, tangible objects, or copies or portions thereof, which are within the possession, custody, and control of the defendant, and which the defendant intends to produce in evidence or introduce in evidence at trial. And their answer is Mr. Kohberger's investigation and preparation of his defense is underway. As determinations are made about trial evidence, the same will be timely disclosed. But that's not giving him or responding to the request of this. They're asking for photographs, tangible items that they plan on introducing at evidence, and they're saying the defense is underway and nothing, they haven't determined anything, and the same will be disclosed. I would think at this point they would have something to disclose, but I digress. The state is also asking for all results or reports of physical or mental examinations and of scientific tests or equipments made in connection with this case, or copies thereof, within the possession, custody, or the possession or control of the defendant, which the defendant intends to introduce into evidence at trial, or which were prepared by witness whom the defendant intends to call at trial when the results or reports related to testimony of the witnesses. And if you guys remember this request, well, let me get the response and then we'll discuss this a little bit more. Mr. Kohberger's investigation and preparation of his defense is underway. As determinations are made about the trial evidence, the same will be timely disclosed. As determinations are made about testifying witnesses related to discoverable materials will be disclosed. So they're not giving the defense any idea who they plan to call. Now, mind you, when they provide a witness list, if the defense has not had an opportunity to depose these people, they're going to have to depose these people. So again, this tactic is designed to delay. A list of names, addresses of all witnesses defendant tends to call at trial. This is a normal and customary request. I know a lot of people would, jump through their skin when they found out that the defense was requesting the state to provide a witness list. And again, this is something that the defense knew was going to come up, and I'm sure that they have been preparing for it prior to this. They may have a good idea of what their trial strategy is at this point, and they may actually already have a good idea who they may want to call as a witness, depending on some, different nuances. They're probably not through all the discoverable material yet, but they've got a good working list right now so far. In my experience, they would have a really good working list of documents that they find very, very interesting, and they're looking into those documents to see if things can be pulled out of them, if there's people we can call to dispute some of the information. They're already going over those types of things, and have been for some time, as that discoverable material has been coming into their office. And this being the highest profile case, I guarantee Ada County has, and I mean Latah County, but everybody that's working on this case seems to be out of Ada County. So, this is a high priority for the attorneys working this case. So they're not going to allow the evidence to stale or, sit on the shelf, so to speak, without somebody putting their eyes immediately on it, in my opinion. So somebody is assigned to this case, whether it's a paralegal, that it's absolutely assigned to this case 100%, even though the other attorneys have to work other cases as well. They usually have a team that is on a specific case or a couple specific case, much less than what the attorneys work assignments are. They're asking for all written summaries or reports of testimony that the defense intends to introduce pursuant to Rule 702, 703, or 705 of the Idaho Rules of Evidence at the trial or hearing. The summaries provided must describe the witness's opinions, the facts for those opinions, and witnesses' qualification. Disclosure of expert opinions regarding mental health shall also comply with the requirements of 18207. And I forgot one other thing, that on number 3, where it says a list of the names, addresses of all witnesses. If you guys remember, like I said, this put a lot of heartburn in people's minds early on when Ann C. Taylor was requesting this from the state. This is a standard request. The defense, as well as the prosecution, is entitled to the names and addresses of the witnesses. And you're probably asking, why the addresses? It's private. No, your address is not private. It is the lawful way to send you notifications. It's the lawful way to subpoena a witness. And even though this witness may be subpoenaed by the defense, it doesn't mean they will be. And this witness is discoverable by the state, and the state has a right to depose this person. So they're asking for everybody that they want to or going to put on their witness list, because if they're not on the witness list, they can't add them later. Once that witness list is turned in, they can make modifications up to trial within a certain timeline, but they can't. It's very difficult unless it's new information that's newly coming to you, like that OnStar stuff that came through after trial had started in Alec Murdaugh. It came in after the trial started. So the state and the defense took time to review the information. They didn't immediately address it. They did acknowledge it, did let the courts know that it had arrived. The defense could, object to it, but there are rules that allow that kind of stuff to come in last minute when it was unknown to both parties. And in this case, it was unknown to both parties. So there are those exceptions as well. So now all written summaries and reports. This kind of comes back. And then it also goes back to number 2, where it says any physical examinations that the defendant plans on admitting at trial includes, reports related to testimony of witnesses. Those are the things that, remember, and also when, was it Alec? No, it wasn't. It was in Letitia Stout. It was in the Letitia Stout case, Dr. Lewis. And they kept asking her for reports and how she came to her conclusion and what reports she used and this, and she just couldn't turn anything over. She didn't have anything. She didn't make any reports. And then on the last day of her testimony, she's like, oh, but I have this report that I prepared. And I remember that the prosecution was so frustrated. He's like, Your Honor, we just asked her that. He went a little upset. And I understand why you got upset, because, this was what they were trying to avoid. So anyways, it's this tactic right here. And I'm going to be short and sweet with this. I have some new people coming in here. Good morning, everybody. I was on the other side. I did not see all your comments. For all those that are new, good morning. I'm Bullhorn Betty. I'm I'm not under the weather. I never get sick, but I pulled my back out and I'm not feeling well, and I don't look well because I don't feel well. And so we're going over the Bryan Kohberger case and why I feel that Bryan Kohberger's defense is nervous. It's because of this document right here. They're dragging. This is boilerplate responses, and they're entitled to. This is what I would have done too. I mean, it's not like anything. It's not like it's super secret or it's not standard operating procedure here. I mean, they are working under standard operating procedure, and in my experience, they are going to use every tactic known to man, both sides, not just the defense, the prosecution too. It's a major undertaking to put on a trial of this size, a major, major undertaking. People that are not in the legal business have no earthly idea to the extent it is going to take to prepare a trial like this, to get everything organized. You got to understand, it is almost a craft to run a trial and run a trial smoothly. Because think about all of the witnesses that you have. In the case of this Bryan Kohberger case, it's kind of similar to Letitia Stout. You've got witnesses literally flying from all over the country to be at this trial. You've got 3 different states. Well, is it 3 or 2? No, actually 3 different states that are going to be brought into this matter. What states are there? There's only, Idaho and Pennsylvania. No, there's not. Because he was also pulled over by state troopers in Indiana. And those Indiana state troopers may be called as witnesses, and they will have to go and testify in that court proceeding about the dinner of Bryan Kohberger. So you're talking about a lot of witnesses from different states that need to be scheduled to come in. That means you're going to have to make sure that you're timing on your answers and stuff, because these people are being flown in. It truly is a craft to have a hearing run smoothly with all these people. People think that it just happens the way it does. No, it doesn't. It is a lot of hard work. And it's no task for either the defense or the prosecution. So they're going to, both sides are going to be delaying. They're going to be intentionally trying to delay, because this is a huge undertaking, and any additional days that they can get to prepare this case, they're going to take it. And they're not required. So, or at least, Bryan Kohberger's team is not necessarily required to provide this. They have it, and they're allowed to answer this way, and they're providing ample opportunity to the defense to say, hey, we're just not ready yet. We're getting our stuff together. We are reviewing all this. We will get it to you in a timely fashion. And then they have a motion for exception, or in the alternative, to extend time for compliance. So this is, again, another thing that makes me feel that Bryan Kohberger's team is nervous in providing this alibi. Comes now Bryan C. Kohberger. Oh, you can't see it. I'm still on the wrong one. Hold on. Let's share this one instead. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see this one a little better. Come now, Bryan C. Kohberger. Oh, that hurt. Come now, Bryan C. Kohberger, by and through his attorney, N.C. Taylor, public defender, and hereby request the court to find good cause for an exception, or in the alternative, extend time for compliance with Code 19-519. Motion made on grounds of IC 5195 authorize the court for good cause shown to order an exception to compliance with the statute. Good cause for an exception in Mr. Kohberger's case exists. Since Mr. Kohberger's arrest in late December, the prosecutor has disclosed 51 terabytes of information that includes thousands of pages of discovery, thousands of photographs, hundreds of hours of recording. Further, many gigabytes of electronic phone records and social media data has been disclosed. Discovery is voluminous, and still ongoing. Mr. Kohberger and his defense team continue to both navigate discovery disclosed by the state and investigate the charges against Mr. Kohberger. Compliance with Section 19, IC 19-519 is at minimum premature, as wading through the extensive information that makes up the case is incomplete. Compliance with IC Section 19-519 may tread into discovery of protected information. The defense needs time to make the determination and consider evidentiary rules. As such, Mr. Kohberger respectfully requests an exception to compliance with IC Section 19519, or an extension of time. The court is not. Should the court not be inclined to grant this motion. Counsel requests that this motion be set for hearing in order to present, in 15 minutes. They want to keep pushing this and delaying it. And section, let's see what I see, 19-519. And it's related to notice of defense of alibi. So there it goes. And here it is right here. Let me just pull this up, show you guys this. So it's related to notice of defenses of alibi. So that's what the section is related. Again, making me believe, if I can get this over here. Perhaps I must have this on the same as I do this one. Here we go. So that is related to the alibi aspect of this. And again, they're just trying to delay the alibi. And this is why I believe that the defense is very, very nervous. They have no alibi for Bryan Kohberger. That's got to be very nerve-wracking. The the prosecution is demanding the notice of alibi. And they're saying, we don't have enough information. We're not able to review the discovery. And we will all, normal people would be like, what does that have to do with his alibi, right? He either was someplace or wasn't someplace. Well, you can't just willy-nilly when you're in a case like this and say, oh, he was sleeping in bed. No, you got to look at the evidence. And because in many cases, a lot of these attorneys don't even ask their client, where were you and what were you doing? They don't want to know. They want the evidence to decide the case for them. They don't want to be put in a position where, they could be perjuring themselves by putting on a defense. I mean, in reality, it is a craft to be an attorney, and you got to look at those aspects. You can't have a client that comes in and tells you exactly how he offs somebody, and then you go in there and allow that person on the defense to say he's, to be on the, gosh, I can't even think this morning. I'm in so much pain. On the bench, I don't know what it is. Not the bench, in the witness stand, telling people that he didn't murder this person. There's a lot of ethical obligations that come in. An attorney is required to represent you to the best of their ability. An attorney is not allowed to commit perjury on your behalf in an effort to protect you. So there is a craft that goes on behind the scenes that, these attorneys have to represent you. So there's been a lot of times attorneys, in my opinion, have never even asked their client whether they're guilty or not guilty or what they were doing at the time. There was many times that attorneys have said, look, I don't want you telling me what happened in this matter until we get the discovery. I want you to review the discovery, and then I want you to tell me what you feel happened. There's been a lot of strategies on getting the alibi from your client. Some just don't want to know. They want the evidence. They just don't want to know for legal purposes, for defense purposes. They don't want you to tell them anything about that. If they have questions, they'll ask you the questions. That's, typically that's I've been accustomed to that. So I'm not sure, there's also been times I've been accustomed to an attorney referring a client out. And it's because they were provided way too much information and cannot properly represent that client. And therefore they have to start over with a new attorney. That has happened in my experience before in the past as well. So this is telling me that this defense is nervous. I'm sure that the state is equally nervous because they're trying so hard to keep the public out of this public trial. And I think they're doing it because they don't want people knowing the mistakes they made. This is a small community. I'm sure mistakes were made, and they're going to be blown out of proportion if possible. And I think it's not just an effort. I think it really is an effort to smack. I think this is a punishment to the Gonzalez family. I think this whole circus is brought on because the prosecution is intentionally targeting the Gonzalez. I truly believe that. That's what's in my heart and soul. And I hope that they are able to prove that somehow, that is exactly what this is, because everything that they've said, they have not provided the proof, in my opinion, substantial proof of their claims, not the defense, not the state. They're saying that these people could be threatened, but they're not showing how these people have been threatened in the past. You can't assume something is going to take place and then violate people's rights over an assumption. That's not how it works in this country, unfortunately. And a best example of that is a restraining order, right? They can't do anything until that restraining order is violated. That's a perfect example of how these orders should work, right? You have the restraining order, and people can come within the person can follow you around as long as it's 500 feet away. The minute they get over to 499, they are arrestable. But you got to prove it. So they have to prove, in my opinion, they can't just come in here and say, and even the stuff that they sent, we went over. None of it was inaccurate, in my opinion. And everything was in the rights of the journalists to write in their reports. And I really hope that this judge so far has not, I'm going to check let me check the system again, because it's been a while since I updated. And every time courts open, it's possible that there's an immediate document dump in there. And usually I find out around 2 o'clock, around 2 or 2, a little after 2 for that day. Earlier that day, they have another document dump. It's like, guess how they push the stuff through to their docket. I'm not sure. But guys, I would love to open the phones, and I would love to go over this stuff a little bit more. But to be honest with you, I'm just in a lot of pain, and it hurts to sit up here, and it hurts to go over this stuff with you. I'm feeling better. I'm much better than I was Monday morning when I woke up, but I'm just still not at 100%. So how we're going to do it today is I'm going to do research. And well, there's a lot of research I've already done. I just got to go back and review it. I may push some videos out today, and when I can, and I may go live later again today when I can to cover more stuff. It just is, again, I'm just in a lot of pain. It hurts to sit up. It hurts to breathe. It hurts to get up and sit down, in the sitting up, it hurts to adjust. Like when I have to adjust, it just hurts. I don't know how to explain it. It just hurts. But I'm doing better. I know I'm going to be better, but unfortunately my fence is not getting done anytime soon, because it's going to be at least 2 weeks before I'm fully healed to go back out there. Oh, excuse me. It may be longer. As you can tell, I'm even having a hard time sleeping at night because I'm in so much pain. And I haven't hardly eaten anything because I've had no appetite. The pain has been so, like Monday, I don't think I ate anything. My neighbor brought me over a burger, and I think I took 2 bites of it, and I couldn't even eat it. I've never had, it's been a long time. I shouldn't say I never have. It's just been a long time since I had been in this much pain in my back. It's been a long time. I forgot I had icy hot, but honestly, I've been icing it down and heating it up. I've got clay. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of clay. They're like they're doubled. You can heat them up or cool them down, and they're clay bags that like strap over to you. And so I've got clay, and I got them iced. I got iced clays, and I've got hot clays. And so I've been I don't know. I'm hoping it's just a muscle, and I'm hoping it's just something that will pop back in, or whatever it'll do by itself. I'm going to start stretching. I think I'm going to start stretching later this afternoon, which may help or hurt, but I was talking to some medical friends of mine, and they told me I really, despite how painful it is, I need to stretch and try to stretch it, but not do it too much where it aggravates it, but I need to stretch that muscle. And so I'm going to try to do some light exercising. If it starts aggravating it, I'm going to stop, but I want to try to do some light exercising to help loosen up that muscle. But I've been icing it down and heating it up. I just haven't been using like icy hot. But it was funny because I was just talking to Jennifer yesterday, and she's like, "Do you have some icy hot?" I'm like, "Actually, you know what? Until you were bringing it up, I forgot I did have icy hot." So I did find the icy hot. It didn't really help much. I think I like the ice and I like the natural stuff. The ice and the cold. The ice and the cold. So anyways, guys, I love you, and thanks for being with me and bearing with me. I got my phone next to me, so it's not like I'm missing a whole lot. I'm monitoring everything. It's just It sucks that I don't do emojis. I don't do thumbnails on my thing, but I feel so horrible. I know I look horrible and I don't want you seeing me like this. Usually I don't mind you guys seeing me bedhead, but this is beyond bedhead. I mean, I really don't feel good. I'm in pain. You can see it on my face and I don't want you guys seeing it. So, anyways, guys, I love you. Have a great day. I will be back. I'm not sure how. It's going to be either video. It's going to be either another live. I'll probably do another live before the end of the day because I find it a little easier for me. And we'll be back here. So just don't forget, keep me in your prayers. Keep everybody struggling today in your prayers. And hopefully we'll get back. It just sucks because I was just finally getting back. And I felt good. Like, Saturday and Sunday, I felt good. We were live both days. I was doing a lot of work around the house. I was getting up, getting the whole yard picked up. What makes me mad is I paid somebody to do the yard, and they did portion of the yard. Right? But it was when I was going on a trip and I felt bad and I went ahead and paid the money up front. I always get burnt every time I do that. Well, when I came back, the stuff was still here. Never heard from the guy again. And c'est la vie. So I'm still stuck cleaning this yard. Now they did do some stuff. They did cut down some of the trees that were, fallen over onto the fence and stuff, but they didn't cut them back far enough that I needed them. They did weed eat the whole entire yard, but I asked them to move the sand filter as well as the stairs to the front. I asked them to pick up all that tar paper, all the shingles that are laying on the floor or on the ground, and they didn't. So I was out there trying to take these partitions down for the fence, and I'm keeping portions of the fence because I got other sections of my fence that fell down. So if I have a good post that I'm pulling up, I put it to the side so I could use it on the falling, the portion that's fallen down. And it was the 8-foot section. It was either that or my ex-husband built this like dog shed attached it to the fence. And this dog shed, he used this really thick plywood, and I swear to God, it feels like a ton, and I've got to drag it from the back of the house to the front of the house, and I have no way of dragging it other than pulling it, and it's crap like that that's pulling my back. I need to have a second person here just to help me lift it, to walk it there. It'd be so much easier, but I'm having to use all my weight to drag the stuff from the front of the house to from the back of the house to the front of the house. So it hasn't been fun. Anyways, I'm not complaining. I'm thankful to be here, and I'm thankful I got to see your pretty faces. But I did want to let you know, because I don't like rumors going around, because everybody's got something to say about me. No, I'm not in Miami. Was I supposed to be there? Of course I was supposed to be there. There were hundreds of people and plenty of photographs out there, and everybody knows when I go to events like that, people take photographs of me. Okay? I'm a front row Joe. I have a lot of, trust me, if I was there, even Nerdy Attic and his girl were there. Okay. Now, if for any reason I was there, I'm absolutely 100% positive somebody would have captured me on some type of film. I'm always put on Getty's, images. My images are always sold across this country. So if I'm there, go find me, because I'm telling you can't. I was not there. I know exactly where I was yesterday, and trust me, it was not walking around. It was not waving flags whatsoever. That would have been the most painful thing I can think of doing with my back this jacked up. There is no way. I had to tell, my president of the Front Row Joes that my back was jacked, and I don't think I can make the 5-hour drive. He had people to cover. So I didn't have to be there. I'm glad I didn't have to be there. I was able to rest and take care of myself. But anybody that's putting out that, I've never lied to my audience about who I am, where I go. If I have a personal thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to say I hurt my back and lie to you and go do my personal thing. I'm a grown up. I own my own channel. I own my own home. I will tell you, I have a personal event I'm going to, and that's where I'm going. I have no reason whatsoever to lie to anybody about what I'm doing or where I'm at. Unless it's covering a case and I'm trying to avoid the stalkers in my life that like to show up everywhere. So anyways, those stalkers that show up everywhere that I don't have. That's right. I forgot. That was just it's all in my imagination, but they seem to be posting stuff about me and about being around me. So I guess that's not as untruthful as people are trying to make people believe. With that being said, guys, I love you. Have a great day. We'll be back later today as I come across any new information. But honestly, I think I'm probably going to do maybe one live later tonight just to get my 2 hours in. And throughout the day, I'm probably just going to put together a couple videos for you guys of information I haven't been able to get to. It's a little easier because I can edit the videos in between, the pain in between me getting up and getting down. I'm in a lot of pain, guys. I don't know what else to say. And I'll be back tomorrow. We're just going to have to do it like this until I'm back at 100% and willing to show my face. Show my face back on here. I'm just in a lot of pain, and I know it comes across my face. So anyways, guys, I love you. I am taking care of myself, but just know I am in a lot of pain. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.